The fluorescent lights of the downtown office building cast their familiar harsh glow as Hassan Mahmoud pushed his cleaning cart down the marble corridor. At 62, he had been working the night shift for Meridian Tower for over 15 years, moving quietly through the halls while the city's business elite worked late into the evening. Hassan took pride in his work. Each surface gleamed, every wastebasket was emptied with care, and he knew the preferences of the regular late-night workers. Mr. Peterson, in accounting, liked his desk lamp positioned just so, and Ms. Chen from marketing always left a kind note of thanks. Most people barely noticed Hassan, which suited him fine. He observed the world around him with the quiet wisdom of someone who had learned that real character reveals itself when people think no one is watching. On this particular Thursday evening, Hassan was cleaning the 23rd floor when he heard it, quiet sobbing coming from the employee lounge. He paused, his weathered hands stilling on the handle of his cart. There, at one of the small tables, sat a young woman in a delivery uniform. Her dark hair was covered by a hijab, and her shoulders shook with silent tears. In front of her lay what appeared to be official documents, scattered and damp with her tears. Hassan recognized the look of someone lost in a system too complicated, too cold, too unforgiving for simple human needs. He had worn that expression himself many years ago when he first arrived in America with nothing but hope and determination. He approached slowly, speaking softly in Arabic. "Sister, are you all right? Can I help you?" The woman looked up in surprise, her eyes red with crying. When she heard her native language, relief flooded her face like sunrise. "You speak Arabic," she whispered back in their shared language. "I do. I am Hassan, from Lebanon originally. And you?" "Amira, from Syria." Her voice broke slightly on the words. I don't know what to do. I was delivering food to this building, and I asked the security guard about my immigration papers. I thought maybe someone here could help, but he just laughed at me and told me to figure it out myself." Hassan pulled up a chair, his movements gentle and unhurried. "Tell me what troubles you, daughter." In Arabic, Amira's story poured out. She had arrived 3 years ago with her elderly mother, fleeing the war in their homeland. Her mother needed medical care, expensive care, and Amira worked 3 jobs to pay for it. She had been trying to navigate the immigration system alone, filling out forms she barely understood, afraid to ask for help because she didn't want to seem ungrateful for the sanctuary America had provided. "The deadline is tomorrow," she said, pointing to the papers. "If I don't submit these correctly, they might send us back." Hassan studied the documents carefully. His own journey to citizenship had been long and difficult, but he had learned to read the bureaucratic language, to understand the systems that seemed designed to confuse rather than help. "These forms," he said gently, "they are asking for documentation you may not have. But there are other forms, other pathways. You have been trying to climb a mountain when there is a bridge just around the corner." Neither of them noticed the figure at a corner table, laptop open but screen dark, listening intently to their conversation. Victoria Sterling had been working late again, as she did most nights. At 38, she was the youngest partner at Sterling & Associates, one of the city's most prestigious immigration law firms. Her reputation was built on winning difficult cases and commanding premium fees from clients who could afford her expertise. Victoria didn't speak Arabic, but she didn't need to in order to understand what she was witnessing. The universal language of compassion needed no translation. The way the elderly janitor leaned forward with complete attention, the careful way he handled the young woman's documents, the patience in his voice as he explained something complex in gentle terms. For 20 minutes, Victoria watched Hassan guide Amira through the labyrinth of immigration law with a clarity and kindness that put most attorneys to shame. He explained which forms she actually needed, how to document her mother's medical necessity, and where to find free legal aid clinics that specialized in refugee cases. "But how do you know all this?" Amira asked, her voice filled with hope for the first time that evening. Hassan smiled, the lines around his eyes deepening. "Because I have walked this path, daughter. And because in America we help each other. This is how we all become Americans, not through papers alone, but by extending our hands to lift others up. As Hassan finished explaining the process, writing down names and addresses of organizations that could help, Victoria made a decision that surprised even herself. She quietly packed her laptop and followed them as they left the building together. Hassan offering to drive Amira to the 24-hour print shop so she could file the correct paperwork before the morning deadline. In the parking garage, Victoria's heels clicked against the concrete as she approached them. Both Hassan and Amira turned in surprise. "Excuse me," Victoria said, her professional composure intact but her voice softer than usual. "I couldn't help but overhear your conversation upstairs." Hassan immediately stepped protectively closer to Amira, unsure of this well-dressed woman's intentions. "I'm Victoria Sterling," she continued. "I'm an immigration attorney, and I think I might be able to help." Over the next hour in the fluorescent-lit print shop, Victoria reviewed Amira's case with the thoroughness that had made her reputation. But more than that, she found herself learning from Hassan's approach, his patience, his ability to explain complex concepts in human terms, his genuine care for someone he had just met. "Your case isn't as complicated as these forms make it seem," Victoria told Amira. "With the right documentation and proper filing, you and your mother should be able to secure permanent residency." "But I cannot afford," Amira began. "Consider it pro bono," Victoria said quietly. "My firm takes on a certain number of cases each year for people who need help but cannot pay. Yours will be one of them." As they worked through the paperwork, Hassan watched this unlikely partnership unfold. The successful lawyer and the struggling refugee, finding common ground in the shared desire to solve a problem and help a family stay together. 6 months later, Hassan was cleaning the same floor when he found an envelope on his cart. Inside was a photo of Amira with an elderly woman, both smiling broadly in front of a small apartment. On the back, Amira had written in careful English, "Hassan, this is my mother on the day we got our permanent residence cards. Thank you for showing me that kindness is the same in any language. Your daughter in America, Amira." Below that, in different handwriting, "Hassan, thank you for reminding me why I became a lawyer in the first place. Amira's case was approved unanimously. Your friend, Victoria." That evening, as Hassan finished his rounds, he reflected on the unexpected ways that lives intersect. A young woman crying over paperwork. An attorney working late who chose to listen rather than ignore. A simple conversation in Arabic that had bridged more than just a language barrier. He had spent 15 years cleaning these halls, invisible to most who passed by. But invisibility, Hassan had learned, could be a kind of strength. It allowed you to see clearly, to act without seeking credit, to offer help simply because help was needed. In his coat pocket, Hassan kept the photo Amira had sent. Not because he needed recognition, but because it reminded him that small acts of kindness, explaining forms to a confused refugee, taking time to listen to someone's fears in their native language. These moments ripple outward in ways we may never fully know. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can offer someone isn't money or influence or expertise. Sometimes it's simply the assurance that they are not alone, that someone understands their struggle, and that in the vast complexity of life, there are still people willing to extend a hand. The language of compassion needs no translation. It speaks directly to the heart, in words that every soul recognizes. "I see you. I hear you. You matter." And in a world that often feels cold and impersonal, these simple truths become the foundation upon which real human connection is built.